Are you looking to start your very own internet radio station or radio network? Do you need a reliable, high-bandwidth, dedicated server? Reliastream offers some of the lowest rates on the web. Reliastream supports Shoutcast, Icecast, and iTunes radio broadcasting. We are so confident you will love our services. We even offer a free 15-day trial. You will also enjoy our free top-rated customer service, free live support, and low-cost dedicated servers. Visit www.reliastream.com. That's reliastream.com to get started.
You're tuned in to Rebooting Liberty. You're tuned in to Rebooting Liberty.
The leader in talk radio. K98 Talk is expanding its lineup for 2015. This means we are expanding our advertising base. Whether you're a startup trying to push through to the next level or an established business trying to supplement your advertising budget, web-based advertising is a solid investment. Thanks to Talk's newest partnership with TuneIn Radio and instant access to our sister station, K98 FM, we give you worldwide access at a reasonable cost. Interested parties should email us at sales@k98fm.com. The leader in talk radio on the internet, right here on K98Talk.com.
We believe in the American way, and we built this country called the USA, and we fly our flag because we're proud and free, we're Americans. Red, white, and blue is our way of life. Never back down from a challenge or a fight. Nature provides, God gives the rights, we're Americans. We fish the waters and we hunt the lands. We forge the steel with our own two hands. With what we've got, we do the best we can, we're Americans.
It's time now for the Conservative Curmudgeon radio show on K98 Talk. Now, here's Grouchy.
It's a familiar sound. We all know it. We all love to hear it because we know what it means when it comes to Twitter and our internet radio. It means that our friend Sam is online, kicking ass and taking names. Sam, I don't know if you're out there listening tonight, but I want you to know that I fully support Sam in Sam's decision to do what's best for Sam and Sam's family. The bunny stuff is great, but I'm much more concerned about what's happening with Sam. So that being said, we're gonna break off into tonight's show. Welcome aboard. We're going to start the show off tonight talking about cyberbullying. And if there's a little bit of an echo, I apologize for that. I am in a new studio that I am broadcasting from, and it is not finished yet. So it is bare walls and concrete floors right now. I am working to get that taken care of. There is on Twitter an element of, let's call them vermin. I know I tweeted out that I was going to do some rated MA for language, but we do have some very honorable and distinguished first-time listeners tonight that I was alerted to, and I'm going to control myself a little bit. I know that's not my normal thing, but I want everybody to be able to take this all in and absorb it, and I can do that without going the MA route. So I'm going to do that. Look, folks, cyberbullying is something that's very real. We hear the stories. We hear about suicides. We hear about bullying that turns real in real life. The threats are absolutely ridiculous. These people out there that want to dox somebody, And for those of you that aren't familiar with the term dox or doxing, it is when somebody basically digs into your life and finds out who you are, where you are, who your family members are, and then uses that information to either threaten, intimidate, try to scare you. And you know what? It's an effective tool when somebody can actually get pictures of you that you didn't know were available out there and start posting them and mocking you or mocking family members. And you know, it's a real problem. And they think that they're special somehow when they do this. Let me go on record by saying that if you're out there and you're doxing somebody, you are not displaying anything special. Okay? I have read the papers on how to dox. If I wanted to dox people, I could dox people. But what does it mean? What does it prove? It does nothing other than cause torment to the person that you're invading the privacy of. And the only thing that it really shows off about you as a doxer is that you are lower than pond scum. You have no skills. And basically what you're doing is violating mommy's and daddy's internet rules while you dwell in their basement. You're a faceless, feckless coward who wants to stand up like they're trying to do the world a favor. You're not doing anybody a favor but your own ego. Now, before we get too far into this tonight, I know I've tweeted out some messages for a couple of days about this show, and I don't know if anybody out there listening has ever been doxxed, or if you think you're justified in doxing people. The number here at the studio is 408-681-8255. I'm sure I'm not the only one that would like to hear from you, to give your story of how you were doxxed and what you did, if anything, or if you somehow think you can justify diving into somebody's life like this and exposing them in a way that makes you a bully and think that that's somehow justified. I'll bring you on the air. I'm not afraid. Come on, let's do it. What I want to do is I want to tell everybody out there that I don't care what you look like. I don't care what color your skin is. I don't care what church you go to, or if you go to what church. I don't care about any of that. I care about people. And I've made a lot of good friends since I joined Twitter. And I hate to lose even one, because I care deeply for all my friends. And like I said, I don't care if you're white, black, brown, red, yellow, pink, purple, blue, or even plaid. If you're my friend, I'm going to go to the wall for you each and every time. And I want all of you out there to know that. I may not know what's going on, you know, whether you're being harassed or doxxed or threatened. Please do not hesitate to let me know. There are avenues that can be pursued to stop it. Now, I'm not saying they're 100% effective, but they are avenues nonetheless, and we will take them. And if you need me to take them with you, I will take them with you. Because it's wrong. Nobody should be tormented for exercising their right to free speech. I don't care what side of the political aisle you're on. We can disagree all night long, and we can argue all night long. We can throw facts back and forth all night long. I'm not going to invade your life. I'm not going to threaten family members. I'm not going to mock family members. And quite frankly, I don't care what side of the aisle you're on politically, whether you're, conservative, libertarian, independent, liberal. I don't care who's attacking who. If you're doing something you shouldn't be doing to somebody else, I'm going to call you out on it. Now, at the same time, if you come jump in my yard, and I don't mean my physical yard in front of my house, I mean if you jump in my Twitter yard, you better be prepared. Because while the expletives and strong language is not my preferred method of communicating with people, I am more than capable of going that route with you, whoever you are. You want to come with facts? That's fine. You want to come with feelings? You better be prepared. I wear a size 13 shoe, and I'm not afraid to plant it if you get my drift. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of stupid people trying to be all smart and righteous acting like they're doing Twitter a favor. You're not doing Twitter a favor. You're trying to stroke your own ego. Sick of it all. Now, I'm not going to go real deep into what I know on a personal level about some of these situations. I just know that it's happening to more and more people, and it seems to be more and more leftists. And I don't want to lump all of them together because they are not all the same. There are people out there that I can discuss philosophically politics and social matters with that are more than civil on the other side of the aisle. But it seems to me more often than not that it is the jackass faction of the left that is doing most of the doxing out there. If you are of a conservative mind and you are espousing conservative ideals for this country and you're doxing somebody, you're a hypocrite. No wiggle room whatsoever. You're a hypocrite if you're doing that. There are lots of good people out there willing to have civil discussions. Have them. There are people out there that want to have uncivil discussions. That's not for everybody. And like I said, it's not my preferred method of communicating, but I'm here. You can bring it to me. Don't bother the people that don't want to be bothered with it. Okay? I'll take that heat. Just bring it to me. Now, as I continue on, I have noticed that there is a GoFundMe campaign out on GoFundMe, of course, GoFundMe.com. There is a campaign out here raising money called Twitter versus Bullies. And let me read you what this is about. Bullying threats and doxing, finding and publishing personal information are common and widespread problems on Twitter. While I'm sure this is not limited to my followers, enough of my followers have experienced these activities quite severely. I'm attempting to build a website that will allow Twitter users to post the link to a threatening tweet. The site will then store that tweet in a database that can be searched by sender, recipient, date, and content. The site will also store a screenshot of said tweet. The database will only be searchable by law enforcement and Twitter should they request it. The viewable website will contain links to federal and state laws applicable to online threats and bullying. Even if nobody donates to this cause, I am doing this. I have already contacted some contractors to start developing the site. Contractors are not free, and neither is hosting and upkeep of said website. Again, I'm doing this regardless of how much money comes in. The $1,000 mark is completely arbitrary. That being said, any help that comes in is very much appreciated. Now, GoFundMe is a public site, and this particular GoFundMe fundraiser was started by Bill Morgan. His name and face are on the page. I'm not giving away any trade secrets here. I'm not exposing anybody. It's out there. And it was started yesterday or the day before, June 1st. I don't even know what the date is anymore. Bill Morgan, God bless you, sir. This is good work, people. And this is a very fine man who's going to be joining us in just a few more minutes on the program tonight to discuss an altogether different topic. But this is just another endeavor that Bill has underway, and I wanted to pass this along. So if you are of a like mind and wanted to donate to help this cause, it's out there. It's GoFundMe.com, and you can do a search for Twitter versus bullies. That's VS bullies. Twitter VS period bullies. So I just wanted to bring that to everybody's attention and let you know that is out there. That being said, last night I believe that I ended up graduating to maybe a lower class of troll, if you will, on Twitter. I received notification that I was placed on a couple of lists, not the least of which was a get suspended queue. Apparently, there is somebody out there that feels I'm worthy of being suspended from Twitter because they don't like what I'm saying. Let me tell you something, Doxter. I don't care if you like what I'm saying. And Doxter is his name. You can find him out there. It's not that hard. Maybe 100 or 200 of his followers, they think he walks on water or something. I've got news for you. The water he walks on is at the water treatment facility because he's just a big turd in the toilet bowl of life waiting to be flushed. If anything I'm saying on Twitter bothers you so bad that you need to work at getting me suspended, I suggest you get outside and get some fresh air. Because quite frankly, your life doesn't sound like it's worth living. And if you're home right now listening and steaming because we had our little conversation last night about how pathetic you are, good. Maybe you take some notes. I don't really care whether somebody likes me, whether somebody doesn't like me. There are plenty of people out there that are on either side of that fence, and that's all fine and good. I am who I am. I cuss a little bit in excess at times, sometimes a lot in excess. I espouse conservative ideals. I believe in true freedom of speech for every American, no matter what side of the political aisle you're on. And that, my friend, means that you walk up to a microphone and you get your time to say your piece and then you yield the microphone to somebody that rebuts everything you just said, but you stand there and you keep your mouth shut until it's your turn to speak again. That's true freedom of speech. Everybody gets their say, whether you like it or not. They're entitled to it. It's their right. It's their God-given right, whether they believe in God or not, whether they believe God gave them those rights or not. That's just how it is. Now we're getting ready to, in just another couple of minutes, we're going to take a commercial break. But before we do that, I want to do some things here on the housekeeping side with a great station and great managing partner / producer / GM for our great K98talk.com, Rowdy Rick Robinson. Sir, I know you're producing my show tonight. You were unable to do yours. I know why. I don't have to go into that on air, but I want you to know that I know the tireless work that you put in doing for everybody that broadcasts on K98, and I want to thank you for it publicly right here on the air. While we're doing this, I want to remind people that every Monday night on K98 Talk, you can hear Real Serious Nonsense with artist Angie and Pointless Paul, followed by the Stafford Voice with Daniel Stafford. On Tuesday nights, you can hear The Right Angle with Bill and Leslie, followed by Game On with JD and Stacy. On Wednesday nights, you typically get America Off the Rails right before yours truly. And starting next week, I will be followed by Jason DeWilkins on According to Me. And then on Thursday nights, please tune in and welcome Red Nation Rising to K98talk.com. And they will also be followed by a second helping of Game On with JD and Stacy. Now, friends, we're getting ready to take a commercial break, and when we come back, we are going to have our guest online, and we are going to start discussing the Convention of States. We're going to do the ins and outs, the whys, the why nots, the haves, the have-nots, and you name it. And I'm hoping that the discussion gets lively, and I'm hoping some people call in with some really good questions because, quite frankly, I can only think of two guests that have been interviewed by me that would be on this level, this tier of level and have the fountain of knowledge that we're about to have on the program. So as we, let me steer back out of here real quick. Bill, if you're out there, we're getting ready to head into commercial break. So as we do, go ahead and dial up and call in, sir. And ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back in just a couple of minutes to discuss the Convention of States. Stay tuned.
Oh, but ain't that America? You and me, ain't that America? Something to see, baby. Ain't that America? Home of the free, yeah.
The leader in talk radio on the internet, right here on K98talk.com.
This is JD.
And this is Stacy.
Join us Tuesday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern, for Game On. Remember,
Lock up the children and the old folks.
Game On, the home of liberservative conservatism.
Where no one is safe, no one is spared. not even the hosts.
Oh, that was supposed to be a spin cycle. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. We love you anyway. Right round, baby.
Self-monitoring
right
Ebola radio strikes again.
Anyway.
Anybody see the host monkey? Where's the host monkey? Where's the host monkey? For God's sake, I need an antidote. Just do your rant. Let's pop out of the segment.
Has to do with
Find us on Twitter at JD and Stacy.
You're listening to K98Talk.com.
Red Nation Rising brings you Town Hall Radio.
From a single tweet to 3 million a month, our community is a force to be reckoned with on social media.
So don't miss our show, Thursdays, 8 p.m. Eastern on K98 Talk.
Our chat room is our co-host, and you ask the question.
Join us and be heard.
So get ready to sound off on Red Nation Rising Radio. No one else is going to do it for you.
There's a wild, wild whisper blowing in the wind, calling out my name like a long lost friend.
The staff of K98 Talk and the Spark Radio Network is proud to announce that our very own Rowdy Rick Robinson has been selected as one of the top conservative talk show hosts in the nation for his program America Off the Rail. Again, congratulations to Rowdy Rick Robinson for a job well done and another reason to stay connected to K98 Talk and the Spark Radio Network.
Not on my watch, our military service members say, as they volunteer to serve, as they move out, stand firm, and take fire. So not on our watch, we say, to the severely ill or injured veterans who can't get the care they deserve to live full and independent lives, even when there's no government funding, or a nursing home seems like the only option. We won't leave one warrior behind. Not on our watch. Join us at findwwp.org.
Oh, but ain't that America? You and me, ain't that America? Something to see, baby. Ain't that America? Home of the free, yeah.
Welcome back, everybody. We are joined live on the air by Bill Morgan. Bill is going to be with us for the next half hour as we discuss the Convention of States. And the ins and outs, the whys and why nots, and so forth and so on. So please sit down, open your ears, open your minds, and let's learn a lot from this very smart gentleman who is much more learned than I on this topic. So, Bill, before we get rolling into it too deep, why don't you give us a little bit of background on Bill and let us know, exactly what you know and how you know it.
Well, my name is Bill Morgan. I am a person, and all of the stuff, all of the information that I've gotten is readily available online. The trick is you've got to read the Constitution. You've got to read our laws because that is our rule book. And if you don't know the rules, you can't cry foul when our government does something they're not supposed to do. Just to give a quick background on the Cause Project, Article 5 of the Constitution gives two different ways that you can amend the Constitution. The people that wrote it said, hey, look, it may come a time when this needs to be changed. Congress can do it, and then the states can do it outside with no congressional intervention. If 2/3 of the states, 34 states, call for a convention of states, then that convention happens and they propose amendments, which then have to be ratified by 38, 3/4 of the states, there's 38 states. And the Cause Project guys that I've talked to, the way that they're going about it worries me a little bit because there is the volunteers, they say our job is to get it called, and then we leave it in the hands of the state legislatures. Well, forgive me, but raise your hand if your state legislature is not absolutely as corrupt as the federal government.
Yeah, no hands going up, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, so just to get, there's a couple of issues there, and a lot of them can be addressed by simply educating yourself. And then there's this other group that says if this is called, it couldn't be controlled. A convention could write its own rules. A convention could set its own agenda and be influenced by, people with a lot of money. They could choose a new ratification process. And there is a lot of things. But there's also people out there that say the only time this has ever been done was the Philadelphia Convention in 1787, the one that actually came up with the Constitution. I've heard that Article 5 will keep a convention of states from exceeding their mandate. I've also heard that the Convention of States in 1787, was a runaway convention, and that's what people are worried about. Is that the case? Well, sort of. The 1786, just to give you an idea of how this happened, all right? In 1786, Shays' Rebellion basically let the Continental Congress, because this is under the Articles of Confederation at this time. There's a Continental Congress and there is no Senate. There's 13 articles. Article 13 of the Articles of Confederation says that basically the union shall be perpetual, nor shall any alteration be made unless it's agreed to in a Congress of the United States and confirmed by, and then that was unanimous. It had to be unanimous. So they do this thing. They called it the Grand Committee, and on September 11th of 1786, the Annapolis Convention was held. Only 5 states decided to even send delegates, and they were sent with a list of articles to add to the Articles of Confederation. That didn't work, and they come back and they said, look, we need to have another convention to devise such further provisions as shall appear to them necessary to render the Constitution of the federal government adequate. Again, talking about the Articles of Confederation. Now, that's the mandate. That was the Annapolis Convention resolution. And then in 21 February 1787, Continental Congress said, yes, do that. That's your mandate. You are authorized to suggest any changes to the Articles of Confederation that you think necessary to make it adequate. So they got there, and the first thing that they did, and this is one thing that won't happen today. Nobody has allowed this to happen today. The Philadelphia Convention came in, they locked their doors, they barred the windows, and they swore themselves to secrecy. They then proceeded to write the Constitution in place of the Articles of Confederation. And there were some dissenters. There were some people that said, no, we're not supposed to be doing this. We're supposed to be just adding to the Articles of Confederation. William Patterson was among the most vocal of this. But they did it. They did exceed their mandate. Now, on the other hand, they handed the Constitution to the Continental Congress and said, this is our recommendation. And the Continental Congress unanimously approved it and sent it to the state. The states also, eventually, all 13 of them, ratified it. So did they exceed their mandate? Yes. Was it a runaway convention? Sort of. They met the ratification requirements listed in the Articles of Confederation. The problem that I have with the Cause Project today is there is no Annapolis Convention resolution. There's no mandate for what is going to be proposed. There are a couple of ideas.
Yeah.
So it's important to note, real quick, ratification requirements, they did make them less stringent in the Constitution than they were for the Articles of Confederation. You can also get ratification by the states that's not done by the state legislatures. they can say, in order for ratification in the states, you have to popularly elect in your state people to do a ratification convention. And if 38 of those happen, Cause Project goes through.
Gotcha. Okay.
So, very powerful thing, the Convention of States. But, and there's some danger to it. Anytime you have an explosive like this, you have to be careful with it, and you have to respect it, and you have to do it right. On the other hand, is it time? Has our federal government gotten so far out of control that we need a nuke? Maybe.
Maybe. We haven't practiced true conservatism in the federal government since Reagan was in office.
Well,
it'd be nice to try it again, but maybe we do need to nuke the system.
Well, believe it or not, the Constitution and the Convention of States is not a Democratic or Republican issue. This is a purely constitutional issue.
Oh, absolutely.
And I'll give you an example. Freedom of religion, the First Amendment, right? It says Congress shall make no law.
Absolutely.
About the establishment of a religion or pre-practice thereof. Okay. Now, the Democrats generally say that means nothing. No religion in government at all. And the Republicans generally feel that, okay, anything's allowed. If you want, on the courthouse steps, you can put the manger and the Buddha and whoever you want. And we keep bouncing back and forth. So constitutionally speaking, all is okay. None is okay. It's when you start picking and choosing which ones are okay that you get away from the Constitution.
Absolutely. At
So
least
it's not
as
a Republican or
government
Democrat thing. It's a Constitution thing, and we have, in many cases, a Constitution that has been loopholed. It's kind of like when you tell your kids, "We'll get you some ice cream if you clean your room," and then 3 months later they want ice cream because they cleaned their room. And we don't let our kids get away with that. Why would we let our senators and representatives get away with it?
Right. So Bill, let me ask you, as of right now, I know that 34 state legislatures have to pass the bill that they call an application for calling for the Convention of States. Are you aware of how many have actually done that yet?
At last count, I believe 4 or 5 have. But to give you an example that illustrates my point about the state convention or the state legislatures being corrupt,
yeah,
one of the major reasons, because there was a big push in my state of Missouri to get this passed and called, and it kind of got overshadowed and pushed off till the next one because I think it was the speaker was caught sexting, and there was a huge scandal about that. So
by all means, that's so much more important.
Say again?
I said, by all means, that's so much more important, right?
Well, yeah. Don't worry about running the state. Don't worry about running the government. Don't worry about doing the job that the people elected you to do. And that's part of the problem. So, and there are some concerns. We call a convention of states. They're not going to be able to lock themselves off. So all of it, I mean, if you believe that money doesn't influence politics, you've got your head in the sand.
Yes.
And if you believe that the people who are spending money to influence politics wouldn't spend that same money to influence a convention of states, you've got your head in the sand.
Now, Bill, I did do some reading. I know you sent me some homework to do, and trust me, I did my reading. I remember reading that if a convention is called, that states are free to develop their own selection process for choosing their delegates.
Yes.
Now, when it says states are free to develop their own process, who in the state are we talking about? Are we talking about the legislature is going to determine that, or are we talking about the people determining that?
As far as I'm aware, that's undefined.
Yeah, that I could see becoming a problem, maybe.
Well, and there's another thing that's okay. I have been looking, and I've got to give a shout out to Dr. Warner Winborn of Hamden Sydney University. He and I met in Iraq. He was a firefighter at the same time I was. And he is actually a professor out there, and he is my go-to guy. When I was looking for the mandate, I got to the Annapolis Convention and said, okay, this is the request for the mandate, and he helped me actually find some of this stuff. So, but he and I were both looking, and I asked him about this. There is no judicial oversight. There is no body, no governmental body that would have legal purview over such a convention. So how does this stuff get defined?
When you say gets defined, what are we talking about defining?
This is how it would have to get defined, okay? The Cause Project volunteers, okay, the people that are pushing for this, we have a lot more homework to do. We get to determine that, okay? When we send these bills up to get voted on, it needs to have that defined in it. How are people going to be selected to be delegates? Are the legislature going to decide? Will it be popular vote? And that's something that will, each bill will have to contain in it.
Okay.
I mean, the Cause Project is made up of largely we the people, right?
As it should be.
But when we push that, we need to push it specifically and well-defined proposals. So when we send our delegates, who do we want to send? Do we want to send people that are in state legislature, or do we want to send people we elect?
No. I would much rather have a voice in choosing who would go to represent my state, as I would think most people would. I mean, I can't imagine why you would want to just leave that up to your state legislature to decide who would go.
Well, I would agree with you. Now, another thing to keep in mind, the state when the Continental Congress voted unanimously to accept the Constitution, that was tantamount to committing suicide. The Continental Congress would then cease to be. Okay?
Right.
These guys found themselves out of a job, but all of these people said, yes, this is better. This is what we need. Let's do it. Name me 5 people in government right now that would do that.
I can't name you 5 people in government right now that would be willing to either sponsor or vote for a law or rule that would strengthen the Constitution, let alone that.
Okay. Now, the Constitution, as written, took powers away from the states. The Articles of Confederation were exactly that. At that point, states were sovereign nations, and actually membership was extended to Canada if they wanted to be. Now, they declined, but they could have been. The Continental, or the Constitution actually took powers away from the states, which is why they were sent for ratification by the states. They were sent to the popularly elected ratification conventions because, again, state legislatures don't want that power taken away from them. And people don't know this stuff. Like I said, with the Cause Project guys that are doing this, we have to be specific. We have to define it, and that's where the Federalist Papers came from. The Federalist Papers were letters written to the states to encourage popular support for ratifying the Constitution.
Yeah.
Who's going to write those?
Good question. Good question. I don't know. Yeah, I really don't know.
Okay, Rick in the chat room has said that 4 states have applied for it and passed both houses: Georgia, Florida, Alaska, and Alabama. I don't know that for sure, but Rick is into this project quite a bit too.
I can vouch for Alabama. I know we have.
Mm-hmm. So, I guess if you have any questions, I'd love to take them. But then if there's any questions from the chat room, I think we have, 10 minutes left? Or
yeah, we got about 10 minutes left or so. In lieu of anything that I'm seeing right now, let me go ahead and kick this off. So and this is probably, I don't know how the depth of your expertise, but let's say that we get 34 states and, they call for a convention of states and they pass amendments to the Constitution. With the state that Washington is in now, how do we ensure that these amendments would be adhered to or even looked at as official or, acceptable by current
Honestly,
government?
that is why I would recommend sending a lot of experts in the Constitution and at least 2 or 3 English majors and maybe an attorney, because it'll be the wording of these. You basically have to lock up the loopholes. And locking up the loopholes is a phrase I hear often when talking to Cause Project folks.
Sounds like a plan. In addition, those are definitely some of the kinds of people I would want to send. But I really think that I would like to see a delegation of common middle-class working people from each state as well. I mean, to go with these constitutional professors and lawyers and English teachers and things of that nature. I'd like to
that
see
used to be what we the people were. And when these ideas got bounced around in Congress, you'd have a school teacher and a farmer and all these people. And when an idea came through and a bill that came through, yes, this is good for the country, but it's going to be bad for the farmers unless we change this. A farmer knows that.
Right.
And what we've become is of the attorneys, by the attorneys, for the attorneys. So you're right. We need a good mix.
I agree. So let's see. The naysayers.
Yep.
Naysayers. Here we go. They think that it's very likely that a number of states are going to consider calling for these resolutions for a convention. Let's see. Proponents of the resolutions claim that 24 of the 34 states required to call a constitutional convention have already passed such resolutions. I don't think that's accurate, but maybe on some level, but not officially done yet.
Well, it may have introduced it. It may have passed one of 2 houses.
Right.
I'm not for sure. There's a movement underway, and as normal with any of these things, you've got a large portion of the population that's simply unaware of it. And then you have people that are for it and people that are against it. I'm one of those people that's not really for it or against it. I think it needs to be, I think the Cause Project has more work to do.
I would tend to agree
to make
with
things
that.
more specific and more well-defined.
I'm looking at some of the literature from the against standpoint. They're claiming that the convention could write its own rules because the Constitution provides no guidance on ground rules for a convention. I believe you covered that with the Annapolis Convention and setting down, what was going to be discussed.
The proponents for Cause Project say that Article 5 will. Now, Article 5 says a lot of things can't be changed before 1808, but we're after that. Basically, the only thing Article 5 says that a convention of states or Congress can't amend is the equal representation of each state in Congress and the Senate. Now, yes, as it stands, if you just send them up there, they could write their own rules. However, keep in mind that 38 states are going to have to ratify this.
Yes.
So if you write your own rules and you say everybody's got to wear clown suits on Friday, there's not going to be 38 states that ratify that.
Right. Well, real quick, while we still have a few minutes left on the clock here, folks, if you want to call in, the number is 408-681-8255. That's 408-681-8255. We'd be glad to field your questions. Bill is a fountain of knowledge on this topic, obviously. We're here for you. Let it ring. So, Bill, what do we need to actually guard against should a convention be called?
Honestly, I think the biggest thing we need to guard against is the ability of existing government to influence the process of making things better, and the ability of the money groups, the lobbyists and stuff like that, also to impact this process. This needs to be a process to fix the government, not to fix it for us or for because we have billions of dollars. We want you to do this. That's just going to make it worse. And in writing how this is going to go about, how we're going to pick our delegates, whether we're going to do a state legislature, ratification by state legislature, or by popular vote to get a ratification convention in each state, that kind of thing needs to be proposed at the outset, on the onset. What are our goals? What amendments are we looking for? What specifically are we going to try to do? And that's how you get locked down. Just simply calling it and leaving it up to the state legislatures from there, I think, is a mistake.
Oh yeah, definitely. I couldn't agree more with that statement.
This movement needs to be as much we the people as possible from beginning to end.
I like the sound of that. I'm all about some we the people and the freedom that is guaranteed us. And this, folks, is one of those freedoms that's guaranteed to us. Just like Bill explained, this is a right, basically, that the states have available to them, and they can take advantage of it and tell the federal government, we've had enough.
Now, we do have to go through the state legislatures in order to call it. We do not have to go through them in order to ratify it. We do need 38 states to ratify it, but that can be ratification conventions.
So, folks, if
there
you're
are a
listening,
lot of options. And again, it's educate yourself, educate yourself, educate yourself. Know what it says, know what it means.
That's great advice, not just on this, but on any topic.
Heaven Sarcasm asks, can a convention of states be called if there's economic and national pandemonium? A convention of states can be called for whatever reason 34 states deem necessary to call it.
Yes, there's nothing Congress can do to stop that.
As a matter of fact, Shays' Rebellion was because of the American Revolutionary War. The soldiers were being paid in IOUs, and they were starting to revolt, and the Continental Congress couldn't pay them because the states weren't. So a lot of the amended articles were financial in nature. So that's a very good question. That's precisely what got the ball rolling the first time around.
I like it. We got anything else coming from the chat room?
Too. 38 state legislators or 38 ratifying conventions, or it could be a combination of both. As long as it's one of the two and 38 states ratify, that puts it into effect. So yes, Rick Below is definitely correct on that point.
There we go. Well, all right. Anything else coming in from the chat room? Because I'm not able to see it right now.
Not that I can see. Rick has got some awesome articles that I will be reading and links to them. And he's got some interesting facts. 26 times the state legislators were used to ratify. 21st Amendment was sent to ratifying conventions. 21st Amendment was the one that took away the power to prohibit alcohol from the United States. So yeah, that would have been a ratifying convention.
There you go. All right. Well, we are getting tight on time here. So, Bill, tell everybody that doesn't know you already where we can find you out there in the Twitterverse or Facebook or wherever else you want us to find you.
I am at COL_obvious, Colonel Obvious, and they can find me if they want to find me. I mean, my opinion is the same as anybody else's opinion. It holds exactly as much weight. It can be just exactly as useless.
Well, it can also be filled with the fountain of knowledge that we've enjoyed here tonight, too. I know I've enjoyed it anyway. I've learned a lot. want to thank you for coming on, Bill, and for sharing your time and knowledge with us.
Anytime.
And, you know, people, get out there. You need to be following this man, because this man, he speaks truth and he speaks knowledge, and you'll go far with both in this world. So, as we wrap up,
I appreciate it. It's my first time on internet radio, so I was a little nervous, but
hey, that's okay, Bill. You did a fantastic job. Again, thank you for coming on. I'm going to wrap this up here and tell everybody to stay tuned. I believe we are running a best of for Unapologetically Bunny tonight. Jason will be on after that with According to Me. Again, tomorrow night, new Powerhouse Thursday night on K98 with Red Nation Rising and Game On with JD and Stacy. Don't miss it. And I hope you come back next Wednesday night for another dose of yours truly. And get your grouch on K98talk.com. Thank you all for being here. God bless and good night.
Oh, but ain't that America? You and me, ain't that America? Something to see, baby. Ain't that America? Home of the free, yeah.
Screw you guys. I'm going home. Later.
Game over, man. It's game over.
You're tuned in to Rebooting Liberty.